Coach Neil from the Black Dog Brotherhood, and hopefully by now you've had a chance to read through the PDF that you've downloaded, the 5 pillars of the Black Dog Brotherhood. So as you've just read in the email, over the next 5 days, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each pillar just a little bit further for you. There's too much information for me to actually cram into one ebook for you to read all at once. The idea of the ebook was to give you sort of a little bit of a taste of each thing. If it was too long, we find that people just won't get through it or it becomes a little bit overwhelming. So over the next 5 days, what we're going to do is you're going to get an email a day and we're going to break down each one of those pillars just a little bit further for you. And obviously with today, pillar 1, we're starting with mindset and identity. So the 2 big things that we touched on inside of the ebook with mindset and identity is establishing your truth and constructing you and creating the best version of yourself, okay? So we couldn't go too much into the actual process behind it. What we did talk about was the actual importance of the 2. So if you recall, we discussed the roadmap. If you find that you're completely lost and some stranger gives you a map, that map is completely useless if you don't know where you are to begin with. Because if you don't know where you are, you can't begin to plot your course forward to the best version of yourself. So the way we do this inside the Brotherhood is we break this down into a couple of stages. So the very first thing we do is we start with our point A, and that's what we call your truth. And we break this down into some smaller subsections. So the ones that I generally use look a little bit like this. So your fitness, okay, your physical health, your nutrition, your headspace, and this includes whether you have a diagnosed condition or whether you feel like you may have a diagnosed condition. And the very first thing I tell all the Black Dog brothers when we get to this point is I'm not a shrink, I'm not a counselor, and I don't pretend to be. I'm a fitness and nutrition coach. So if you feel like you have a mental health condition that hasn't been diagnosed, my best advice to you is to take yourself to your GP and get a referral to see a mental health professional to take that side of the house to the next step. Okay, the other thing we're looking at is your environment, because who you hang with makes a very large part of who you actually are. So if you're surrounded by toxicity and negativity every single day, if you're in a toxic relationship every single day, if you're in a toxic work environment every single day, then what's going to happen is that's going to start to play havoc with your headspace. And as it plays havoc with your headspace, that's going to be reflected in your physical health as well. So we take a look at your environment, and the last part we look at is your habits and your routine. So both positive and negative. So when we talk about habits and routines, think about the habits and routines that you currently have in your life that you know are detrimental to your health, things that you know are destroying your headspace. It could be drinking, it could be smoking, it could be recreational drugs, or it could be a drug addiction, it could be too much TV, it could be sitting on your butt for fucking 8 hours a day, cruising the net, sitting on Facebook and Insta or gaming or whatever the case may be. Plus, we look at the habits and routines that you currently have that are supporting a positive lifestyle, supporting a positive headspace. So what you need to do is you need to grab yourself a pad and pen, sit down, make these little headings, and underneath you need to take a step back and give yourself a no bullshit assessment of where you are with each one of these things. So with your fitness, are you going to the gym? Are you running? Are you doing anything physical at all? Are you doing anything that is specifically designed to improve your physical health? Nutrition, are you living off of fast food or are you making home-cooked meals? Are you eating a whole ton of processed stuff or you're eating more natural? How much food are you eating? How are you eating too much or are you not eating enough? So start to break that down and have a look, an honest look at your nutrition. Your headspace, like we discussed, do you have a diagnosed condition? Are you on medication? Does that medication then play a role in your body composition? Because a lot of the time, the antidepressant medication that you get put on can affect your weight. And then as your weight goes up, that in turn creates a cycle where you start to feel negative about your physique, and that starts to play with your head. If you're not getting mental health, if you feel like you have an undiagnosed condition, okay, what's stopping you from going forward and getting the mental health professional that you need? Your environment, are you in a positive environment? Are you in a toxic environment? What sort of environment do you, if you have kids, what sort of an example is that setting for your children? What sort of a husband are you if you've got a partner or a girlfriend? You know, what sort of a partner are you? So all these sort of factors come into it. And of course, your habits and routines, both positive and negative. So that is the very first part of establishing your truth. All right, once we've established our truth, the next thing we need to do is we need to start to look at the best version of ourselves. And if you remember, we talked about visualization, okay? And this is not just some hippie woo-woo shit. It's been scientifically proven over and over and over again. And there are psychologists and sports psychologists out there who make an absolute mozza out of just teaching visualization. They work with all the greatest people on earth people who talk on stage in front of tens of thousands of people who need to fucking visualize the success of being out there and delivering that speech perfectly in front of people. Professional athletes who have to kick fucking field goals in front of 100,000 screaming fans for that, point that's going to win the grand final. Visualization, it's not bullshit, is 100% scientifically proven to play a part in becoming the best version of ourselves. So when we talk about visualization, all we're simply going to do is we're going to think about the headings that we had with our truth, and we're just going to take that and apply them to visualization. So we're going to look at our fitness and our physical health, our nutrition, our headspace, okay, our environment, and our habits and routines. The only difference is now is when we put pen to paper and we start to look at these factors, we're not writing where we are now. We are writing where we would like to be. So we are visualizing the best version of ourselves. So the best version of you, okay, what does he look like? What does he physically look like? When you step out of the shower and he looks in the mirror, what does he see? What does that body composition look like? Then you need to think about what sort of training does that best version of you have in place to support that body composition? If you visualize yourself as being, lean, athletic, maybe having abs, definition in the shoulders, what sort of training is going to be required to help you reach that best version of yourself? So we need to have a look at the fitness that's in place for the best version of yourself. Your nutrition, okay? What sort of foods does the best version of you eat? What does future you eat? How often do they eat? What do the portion sizes look like? Headspace, future you. Right now, there's a good chance if you're a man who's battling the black dog, you wake up of a morning and you feel tired, you feel sluggish. It can take half a day just to get going. You don't feel like you've got a purpose. Sometimes just getting out of bed can be a mission. When we look at future you, the best version of you, what does he feel like when he wakes up of a morning? What drives him to get out of bed of a morning, kick the covers off and go and fucking attack the day? How does he feel throughout the day while he's at work? Okay, so we need to think about that. Environment. If you're currently in a toxic environment, either personal or professional, okay, what sort of environment is the best version of you going to be in? And how are they going to cope when they find themselves in a toxic environment? Okay, who are they going to surround themselves with? What sort of a relationship are they going to have with their loved ones? What sort of a relationship are they going to have with their children? Okay, future you, the best version of you, what does it look like? Okay, and same thing, habits and routines. If you've currently got habits and routines that you know are detrimental to your health, drinking, smoking, drugs, sitting on your backside all day watching TV or gaming, okay? Do you think future you is going to be like that? Do you think future you is going to spend all their time fucking putting chemicals into their body or sitting down and being lazy? No, they are not. So what habits do you need to get rid of to become the best version of yourself? What habits and routines do you need to implement to become the best version of yourself? Rightio. So once we've done that, we now have a firm point A and a firm point B. So we have your truth, your firmly established truth, and we have the best version of yourself. I'm not going to write that because it's too long. So we're just going to call that the best. All right. What we've effectively done now is we have plotted a start point and a destination on your personal map. And only then can you start to bridge the gap between the two. Because if you've got no idea where the fuck you are or no idea where the fuck you're going, you are guaranteed to fail before you've even started.